This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. From time to time, we're going to catch up with the people who have shared their story on the show. When we last caught up with Pierre Issa, otherwise known as Pepe Saya, he'd lost 90% of his business and put a focus on retail and online sales to save his business. Now, on the eve of Aussie Artisan Week, he explains things are looking a little bit rosier. Pepe, how you going, mate?
G'day, Hucks. How are you?
I'm good. How have things been travelling since we last caught up? It was some while ago. It feels like years.
Yeah, it does. It does. I tell you what, every week feels like a month at the moment. It's which in a way it's good, in a way it's really bad because time's stretching, which is great in our heads anyway. But yeah, it's been challenging last 4 months, but a lot's been happening, and we've been very proactive about what we're doing and who we are. More importantly, coming back to, coming back in touch with that, out of the rat race and back to who we are and why we're doing what we're doing.
Has the business changed much following all of what happened? And I know you put more of a focus on retail and online originally, but you're back in the farmers markets now and restaurants are open again. What's trade like for you at the moment?
Yeah, it's totally changed. I guess the focus for us from a risk point of view, because now it's that, isn't it? It's the risk. So to explain myself a little bit better is Melbourne opened up, Sydney opened up, and then we geared up again to go into food service. So our, getting all the stock down to Melbourne and then getting that cranking again, and then a week later back into shutdown. It was another devastating hit, you know what I mean? Because then you've got that stock there, restaurants have put in orders, big places have put in orders, and then you're gearing up for it. You've geared up for it, you've started again, and then we had to take that stock, all of it back.
Wow.
Again. And what we made, we had to cancel. So that was fairly devastating to have it happen to you twice. So the risk of that is just too high. So it sort of, again, cemented the changes we were making to the business from the first hit, that was the right way to go. So yeah, a big focus is on retail. A big focus is on online. We're growing that, like all our focus at the moment. Every marketing cent, everything we're doing is online driven. So retail, obviously, we want to continue with that very strongly. We're getting great support out there. And the restaurants that are open, absolutely. I mean, some of our customers have been our customers for up to 10 years since we started the business, and we want to continue to support them and work with them. And the cafes are still going. And obviously, a big part of our business has been bakery, which has really, really gained momentum during COVID. I mean, some of the bakeries we supply to are doing more than what they were doing before COVID. So that means our sales are going up. And this only transpired in the last 2 months.
The farmers markets are all sort of running again as well, and that's a part of what you do, and including Carriage Works. What's the feeling at the farmers markets now that they're back on?
Oh, incredible. So, there was once upon a time when we first started, we used to do like 10 farmers markets on a weekend. Wow. And now we're down to 4, right? So we went from that market heavy to then pulling back. And then now we're like, no. We believe in that. We've always believed in it. We need to go back to that model. And now we've taken on a new market, or they've taken us on, which is amazing, which is Warriewood out at the Northern Beaches. There's a few others coming up, which I won't mention their names until they actually happen. But and we're also at North Sydney, Orange Grove, Ramsgate, and Carriage Works just opened up last weekend, which I'm over the moon about, because in the team, everyone's allocated to a market, and my allocation is Carriage Works every Saturday. So I'm so happy because I was doing a few of the other markets, but then I had to give them up again because the team member that was doing them was losing out because I was free. So I had to give it back. So I had my Saturdays to, drink coffee and relax. And who wants to do that? I want to be back at the markets.
Well, you've also invested in a new pasteurizer for buttermilk.
Yes.
And have you expanded? Are you expanding into a more product range? Like, will we ever see cheese or milk or other things from you?
Yeah, look, obviously the pasteurizer that it only got commissioned about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago it came in, and that's to give us better quality. So that's been on order for nearly a year, and it just happened to arrive during COVID. So we've been waiting for it from, I believe, April, and it only came 2.5 weeks ago. So it was very delayed because of COVID. So it put a delay on everything. And that'll just give us a better quality of product. So that means we can control it a bit more. But absolutely, more products in dairy from byproducts that we make. So, for example, buttermilk. Buttermilk's a big product for us. We believe in it. We love it. We think people haven't really explored buttermilk a lot because it's not available to them. It's very different to what you buy at a supermarket, where the buttermilk's made from skim milk powder, and culture. With ours, it's actually, we churn the creme fraiche, and the whey left over is called buttermilk, and that's what we bottle up. So we have to treat it a certain way to give it the right flavors and so on. So that's something we really want to explore. I think one thing we're working on now is a buttermilk yogurt, which is really exciting, that we've been working on. So you'll see some stuff come up from that. And our buttermilk, you'll see a lot more of our buttermilk out there available to people to try. It's really special. Like this stuff you can drink, like you just drink it. It's amazing. But I mean, obviously it's cultural in a way as well. So, if you're from the far northern hemisphere, you drink this for breakfast.
Next week is Aussie Artisan Week. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, this is something that we've been sort of pondering and contemplating for the whole existence of our business. Not the actual name of the week, but how do you get people to recognize that there's a whole food culture available outside of supermarkets. The high street supports artisans, the farmers market support artisans, and now the time is right that artisans have started more online and trying to go direct with their customers. So we believe that the time was right now to try to shed some light on that, to say to people, hey guys, have you ever tried an apple that's just been picked from a tree that's available at Carriage Works, for example, or at North Sydney, where we buy apples from a supermarket that you don't know when they were picked or where they're from. But these guys here, these artisan producers and sellers and farmers, the stuff's fresh and the price, there's no price difference, there's not going to be a price difference between this product and that product, except this guy you're supporting, the money's going directly to the farmer or the producer, where when you buy it from a big supermarket chain, it's going sometimes through 3 or 4 different hands. You've got distributors, you've got the supermarkets themselves, the logistics, you've got all of that. Now that also moves money around in the economy, just like you would if you bought it direct from the person. But we're not saying don't shop at supermarkets. We're just saying, hey, for 1 week, we'd just like you to see that there's another food culture out there. There's another world to explore in food, and support these guys because they're doing great things. And if we don't support them, especially in a time like this, we might lose them.
Who are some of the producers that you could highlight that do some pretty amazing things?
Yarra Valley Caviar, Olsen's Salt, Crumpets by Myrna, Linga Longa, Block 11, Currajong Organics, even peanut butter from Chunky Dave's. I mean, Jesus, that stuff's incredible. You know, like try that and then try to go back to a shelf bought peanut butter from a supermarket. Yeah, I can't do it. You become addicted to it. So, you know, Country Valley Milk. You've got so many, Pecora Dairy. There's so many artisan producers out there. There's so many amazing cheeses. Bruny Island. Look at Nick Haddock. You know, like that. Some of these people are doing amazing things, and it's across the whole food and beverage industry. Now, why now is the right time is not only are Australians more open to buying Australian, but a lot of these producers have lost their core incomes because most of them used to go into restaurants. So now they're going, oh, I no longer have the restaurant trade. I can't go into, like, for example, the ICC is closed, right? Tony Panetta is one of the biggest supporters of artisan produce in New South Wales. He's built his whole menu about it. We can't supply in there because it's closed because of social distancing. So that's a lot of money being not made by smaller farmers, smaller producers. And Tony goes direct to bakeries, direct to producers, direct to everybody. You know, and they pay a fair price for it, and then everyone's sort of happy. There's not a lot of middle people going on. So by losing that in the industry, a lot of the farmers, producers, artisan produce makers, they've lost not lost, just don't have that chunk of income they used to have. So I think by trying to shed light on that, it really is going to help if people take up that idea.
How can people get involved and support some of these artisans? You sort of briefly mentioned that they had to pivot and switch because the restaurants had closed and they were looking at online platforms, but how can people get involved and really connect with the artisan producers?
Local high street shops, fruit shops, delis. Ask if it's Australian, who made it, jump online, Google. You can go onto our social media account next week will be pumped with local artisans and farmers telling people about different product. That's what we're going to do all week next week. Farmers markets are one of the best ways to meet them. Don't just go to one, go to many. You'll meet different artisans, different producers, and try to buy from someone that's selling direct from their farm or direct from where they make it. You know, they've got their own stall and believe it or not, those stalls are like shops for them. So that's their actual retail outlet of their own that they pay like, you know, between $100 and $150 to $250 to have a stall, and then they sell their wares for the day. And it's incredible. That's what keeps them going.
You mentioned earlier that you've changed your business model to adapt to the current circumstances and moving forward. How do you see the restaurant industry and cafe industry and the food sector in the next couple of years after what we've been through?
Well, to be blunt and straight up about it, I see it as a horrible situation for all the restaurateurs and cafe owners and function centres. By what they're saying now is that we're going to be in this for a very long time. They're going to need a lot of support. And those that have pivoted or, you know, transformed their business to more an at-home experience or offering a balance of, say, everything they can, a bit of takeaway, a bit of online, a bit of, you know, home delivery are going to do really, really well. Now, we have to find a way for us as to fit in with their needs, to change our products to suit them, price-wise, everything, size, everything, to try to fit into that at-home experience. Because a shutdown, as we're seeing now, a shutdown in any area, in any location, in any restaurant can happen overnight. For example, in Alexandria the other night, or Erskineville, they had someone doing a pub crawl. He went to 7 pubs. And if you went to Alexandria the day after that, everything was dead. Everything was open, but no one was out. So those businesses suffer every time someone does that, or every time that happens. So it's bleak, if I can say that word. It's very bleak, and they're going to need a lot of support. And I'm reading a lot about it, and they're pushing government, but they've got to push people to, you know what? Don't go out, eat at home, but we'll make it for you. It's got to move to that model. It's got to, I feel comfortable when I go into a cafe and they're wearing masks, for example. And the cafes that don't wear masks, I feel a little bit, why aren't they wearing masks? So we're all aware of that, because I catch something, like I'm into my business is affected. It's that domino effect that's happening.
A little earlier, you were talking about the pasteurizer that you have and the buttermilk, and it's so good you can drink it. What do you use buttermilk for? I know that you're so passionate about buttermilk. What is it about buttermilk?
I think it's capturing. So when we ferment the cream to make the creme fraiche that we churn into butter, the cream is fermented, and then the cream drops down to a pH of 4.3. Now, when we churn the butter's at a pH of 5.5, but the buttermilk is at a pH of 3.8, making it really acidic. And that reacts really well with, when you're making pancakes, you get a real nice bubbly sort of mix from it. It reacts really well. But also it's one of the best things to marinate with. So if you're marinating chicken, it can turn mutton into lamb. You know what I mean? It's so acidic. It's really, really beautiful. So for me, I use it in my cooking. I've seen other people use it in salad dressing. I've seen people drink it straight up and they love it. But it's just such a natural product, and we do nothing to it. So out of the churn into the carton. So because we pasteurize our cream before we add in the culture to it, because by law we have to do that. So after it's been cultured, the creme fraiche, and we churn it, we just bottle the buttermilk, and it's just sublime, as a product. We really think it's something we want people to use. And we already sell it now, but we only sell it, you can only buy this product if you're a chef or a cafe, like a food service customer. But the only other place you can buy it is directly from us on our website and at our stalls. And I'd like to see it go further. We're limited by how much we have. We only have a few thousand litres of it a week. And we can't make it. It's not something we can actually make. It's a byproduct. So someone for example, Soda Bread, Paddy the baker makes all his soda bread from our buttermilk. So he comes here twice a week and picks it up. And he picks up 2,000 litres a week of the stuff, and he just loves it. It's amazing, his soda bread. He's at a lot of the markets. He's another artisan people should try. That bread is superb. And he makes a buttermilk scone.
Wow.
That's to die for.
Now, Pepe, your dairy farmer, John Fairley, from Country Valley Milk, calls you one of the greatest latte sippers in the country. Do you see a moment where you'll be sipping a latte with Pepe Saya milk?
Oh, yes. But wouldn't John have a bee in his bonnet about that? Oh, my God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the conversation I'm going to have with John? Oh, look, John, we've got a bit of extra capacity here. We're thinking of putting out a milk. What do you reckon, John? Can you give us the milk so we can bottle it ourselves in our oh, my God, the guy, just at the thought we got a pasteurizer, the guy had a bit of a hissy fit. I hope this is being recorded and John will hear this.
Well, Pepe, how are you going to celebrate Aussie Artisan Week next week?
Well, I'm gonna buy a lot of stuff from the farmers markets. I do my shopping there anyway most weekends, and I also support my high street. I'm going to celebrate by telling everyone I can about all the beautiful producers I know personally on my feed next week. So make sure you look out for that.
Awesome. Well, I think everyone should do that, and supporting local artisans, Australian artisans, is more important than ever, as you say. Always awesome to catch up, mate, and appreciate your sense of humour with the Pepe Saya milk. And we'll catch up soon.
All right, Hucks, thanks for having me. Cheers.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we share the stories of Australia's hospo community, suppliers and producers in search of hope during this pandemic. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.